Get my 6. What's up, everybody? Crazy lake here. I'm putting a bee box on this old locust stump, and it appears as if already we're attracting more than honeybees. This is a perfect spot for this honeybee box. We've got a garden 25 feet that way, 8 apple trees 25 feet the other way. So if we can get a swarm to come in here and habitate our box for us, get them pollinating both the vegetables in the garden and the fruit on the trees. That's all I set out to do today, was try to attempt to capture a wild swarm of honeybees. But alas, it appears I've captured a wild swarm of something altogether different. Keep watching. It just got really quiet. Gotta make sure a wild swarm doesn't catch me before I start cutting into it. Well, judging by that cut, it would appear as if I don't know what a straight line is. Reminds me of a buddy of mine I know, used to drink all the time. He stopped after he got a DUI. He said the worst part about that DUI was that it was self-inflicted. I asked him, well, of course it was. You're the one that, got intoxicated and drove a car. He goes, no, it's worse than that. I said, well, how could it be more, self-inflicted than that? He said he was driving home from the bar. He was out on these old back roads, and he saw that there was a police car behind a Mercedes-Benz, and he drove by, and the guy in the Mercedes-Benz was juggling balls up in the air like that. So he pulled over in front of the Benz and parked and got out and walked up to the officer with his hands up, hands out like this to be cuffed. And the police officer said, what are you doing? He says, officer, I'm turning myself in. He says, I'm drunk and there's no use to lie about it or try to hide it. And the officer says, well, why are you doing that? He says, well, I saw you had him pulled over and you have him out here juggling balls. There's no way I could pass that field sobriety test. Well, so the cop said, well, I appreciate your honesty. Slapped the cuffs on him, threw him in the back of the car, took him in, hauled him in to write up his paperwork. And he said, oh, by the way, just so you know, I never pulled that guy over. I saw he was stopped by the side of the road having engine problems. So I stopped, called for somebody to come help him. And it turns out he was a juggler on his way down to campus to put on a show for a party. And he was just showing me what he does, to pass the time. But I certainly do appreciate your honesty. All right, keep watching. Perfect. Perfectly flat. Now, I'll make sure I get my angle right. You know how they say measure once? Measure twice, cut once? Something like that. Oh yeah, it's gonna be perfect. So you can hear the frogs are coming out because it's getting dark. Well, that means who or what else may or may not be coming out now as well. So make sure you're getting my 6. Always remember iPro. Perfect. Does it go like this? All right, I got one little adjustment I'm gonna have to make before I strap it to that sapling for extra security, and that is I'm gonna have to bring this up 1 inch, and I've got plenty of boards and lumber to do that with at a later date. But for now, we're gonna center it on the platform. It's a little bit of science behind what I'm doing. Top on. Okay, so this box, as well as others that we have around here, we've been baiting with a spray. It's called Swarm Commander, not sponsored. We use it. We don't know. This is our first year to try to capture wild swarms instead of buying nukes. Yeah, you keep watching back there while I tell you this, huh? There's a couple of folks I know. It's a retired couple of school teachers, man and a woman, 65-ish, from Virginia Beach, come up and tailgate with us at least once a year, every year here at UVA football games during the football season. I really enjoy talking to this couple. The wife is a retired advanced placement English teacher, and the husband is a retired history teacher from down at Virginia Beach. And this past fall, me and the gentleman spent about an hour talking about bees. He's been keeping honeybees for 30 years. They have a very similar lifestyle to us. And he told me that his first couple of years, he went out and he bought nukes, which if you don't know much about honey beekeeping and whatnot, that's where you go to somebody that keeps bees and they'll sell you like a queen and her swarm. Last year we got a nuke. They told us there was approximately 8,000 bees in it, I think, and it was like $200, which was fine with us. We brought it home, had success with it up until something that I think malicious and nefarious happened. I won't discuss that at this time, but it's an ongoing issue. I'll just leave it at that. It appears as if the time has come to pay the piper for someone who didn't think he'd ever reach the station. Well, you go around poisoning habitat, things change. So with that said, and that's all I can say, we lost half of ours. Well, we lost most of them, but we were able to keep them up until about fall, but they were all gone by winter. So the gentleman at the tailgate party explained to me that he had a mentor that taught him everything he knows about bees. He said he was reading from the books and the pamphlets and all that at first, but he found out there was this 90-year-old woman that lived close to him who had been keeping bees since she was a little girl. And so he called on her, and she agreed to talk to him for a little bit, and they ended up becoming close up until the time she died. And she said, here's the number one thing you need to know about honeybees. She said they got all these books, and now today they would have all these programs on the internet and everything. She said they're just bugs in a box. Bugs in a box. And she poured out her philosophy to him, which he shared with me at that tailgate party last fall. And basically, he puts traps out. Now, this isn't a trap. This is actually a hive box because this will work as well. And he baits them. He says they do travel along tree lines, roadways, power lines. We've got a tree line going this way, but I'm trying to get something closer over here, like I said earlier, to pollinate the garden and this fruit orchard. And that meadow it's full of thistle and beautiful wildflowers. Oh, I planted 400,000 wildflowers back here behind the camera last summer because I just needed something else to do. So I figured, hey, why not go out this afternoon and plant 400,000 wildflowers? Looking forward to them coming up in July. They're supposed to. So anyway, he said after he started doing what this older woman told him, he never paid for bees again, and he gets bees every year. He says only a couple of times has he had any that's made him through the winter. Says he doesn't care. He hates to see them go just as much as anybody does, but every spring he knows he can always capture wild swarms. He moves them close to his garden or his fruit trees, and it's been simple ever since. He said the key thing is to not overcomplicate it. And I know there's probably beekeepers out there right now thinking about all kinds of ways in which I'm wrong. Hey, to each his own, that's great. But I'm going his route. I talked about it with the wife, and we thought, well, let's put them out here, keep the one where it was last year, and see if we can get some wild swarms. So that's what we're doing. You'll see on the back of the, there's like a 1 inch thick border board that goes around the whole bottom except the front. So I am going to raise that up, and then I'm going to use like a tie down strap to strap the edge by around the side to that sapling, just to give it a little bit more support if we get a harsh wind. Of course, if we do get bees and they make lots of honey, I will be, of course, securing the perimeter with an electric type fence of some sort to protect it from bears and raccoons and whatnot. I'll tell you, bears and raccoons and possums and foxes and hoxes and potentially Bigfoot Sasquatches have nothing on the whatnots. Blanket people, shadow people, whatnot. Whatever you call them, they're evil. All right. So yeah, that's the plan. Hope you enjoyed this video. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's what life's all about. Spice is the something. I don't know, whatever. See you next time.